Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. If you don't know, my name is Kenny Letner, and I have been so blessed this year to be able to. This group of individuals that come together once a month is really starting to grow. There's so much good information coming out of here, and been talking to some of the people that have been coming in the group, and they've been having conversations together and really growing and learning from this. As 2025 kicks off and we move into the year, we start talking about all of our business plans and we start talking about all the things that we want to accomplish in this upcoming year. And we make all these goals and we set all of these things. And I think that's an amazing thing to do, to have things that we want to accomplish. And, success means something so different to everybody, and we all have to have those own plans to do that. But I think where we fall down a little bit is in the accountability part of this, right? When we are working for someone else and we have a job and we're that W-2 employee, I talk about, we have this 9 to 5 job and we know we're supposed to be there at 9 and we get off at 5 and we get lunch from 12 to 1, and we are truly a cog in the wheel of a much bigger machine. And we know exactly what that job is. And when we go in every morning, we know exactly what we need to get accomplished. And all this is laid out for us from someone else. And we know that if we don't do these things, then we might not have a job. And we have to show up at 9 o'clock. If you're showing up at 9:30 every day and you're supposed to be there at 9, you're probably going to get fired or at a minimum reprimanded. But when do what we do, and we all own our own business, because as a real estate agent, you own your own business. It gets a little bit harder, right? Because I think we are our own worst boss. We're that boss that's very forgiving, and we allow ourselves to maybe not accomplish the things that we set out, that we told ourselves we were going to accomplish. And so, the beginning of the year, I had someone say to me, I have a coach. Everybody should have a coach, right? My coach is like, hey, when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, ask yourself this question: would you give that person a raise or would you fire them? And I think we should all be asking that question about ourselves, right? Are we holding up to the standards, and are we holding up to the things that we told ourselves that we were going to do, right? Because we should never try to let ourselves down. So in the vein of that, today I want to talk about accountability and kind of how that plays into the Ninja selling system and the way Larry Kendall. How many people know who Larry Kendall is, right? Amazing. How many people have been to an installation? I cannot recommend that enough. I spent 4 days in Fort Collins, Colorado. Larry Kendall, I sat right in the front row most days. He makes you switch chairs, but I sat right in the front row most days. Got some one-on-one time with him. He is an amazing individual. He is someone who does truly care about the service that he's providing for people and what he's trying to do for people. So it is just absolutely phenomenal what he does. So anyways, I digress. So that's what I want to talk about this week. So I do have a presentation set up so we can all have some good conversations and discussions about that. Going to go real quick around the room and let everybody kind of introduce themselves real quick. Again, I'm Kenny Letner. I'll start right over here. I'm going to introduce my staff. This is Robin. She works in our operations department. This is Abby Watkins. She is our director of operations. Craig Jones is our principal broker of one of our companies, and managing broker in another one of our companies. That is our staff. We'll start right here. Just anybody introduce yourself real quick. Oh, we'll pass the mic around. Yeah.
I'm Ann Davis with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, RW Town Realty.
Thank you so much, Ann, for being here. And just pass it back when you're ready.
I'm Melissa Casas with Hawaii Real Estate.
Hawaii Real Estate, absolutely.
I'm Jet Wilson with Away.
I'm Mary Sue Jadaro with Fathom Realty.
Thank you for being here.
Lisa Allen with Fathom Realty.
Hey, nice.
Sydney Rogers with Away.
Rob Crone, Away.
It might be a little bit away heavy.
Craig Lundgren, Away Real Estate.
Barbara Murphy, Away Real Estate.
Rachel McLean, Away Real Estate. Carrie Williams, Revolution Mortgage.
Davis Horrible, Southern Trust Mortgage.
Miles Mulkey, Southern Trust Mortgage.
Matt Littlefield, Fit Realty. Looking forward to coming over to Away Realty.
Michelle Stanek, Fit Realty. I'm here with Matt.
Nice. Online, let's start with Melody. All right, if you're online, just go ahead and unmute yourself and chime in. Hold on, we got to turn the TV up here just a little bit. I think it might be the TV remote we need. Can I get that mic back?
Dante Brown, ERA Real Estate.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Finale Hudson, Sampson Properties.
Welcome.
Michelle Salyer, A Better Way Realty.
Hey, nice to see you here. I know I got my back to the camera, but hey, thank you. I know I got my back to the camera. So you look at the back of my head, but the cameras are different places. Who else we have?
Good morning, John Nimmo with Rare Sotheby's here in Southwest Florida. How are you, Ken?
Oh, John, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you. How's the weather down there right now?
It's a little chilly, as you can see. I'm wearing a vest today. It's 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's what temperature?
50.
I wish we had 50 here. Anybody else? All right, guys. Well, listen. Thank you so much again for being here. Listen, this is a absolute participation thing, so we all will have something to contribute, I hope, if you want to. So at any time that I'm talking, and if you can ask any of the agents here, I'll get to rambling and I'll get down a rabbit hole and really start talking a lot. And I'll try not to do that. I'll try to stay on task. But let's get that PowerPoint up. I really want to get into this whole accountability thing because we all talk about it. Like I said, we all hear everybody talking about goal setting and let's get our goals down and let's do this and let's do that. But the reality is that we can have the best plans in the world, but if we don't hold ourselves accountable to getting that done, then that's one of those things. So accountability, is it stifling or inspiring, right? And we're going to try to answer that question as we go through here. I hear a lot of people talk about all the time, well, you know, I got these goals and the accountability, it's just so stifling. It just kind of holds me down. Or other people are like, well, it's inspiring. So we're going to try to answer that question today. I have a new clicker. I'm really excited about the clicker here. It's even got, look, it's even got a laser on it, but it doesn't work on the TV. All right. So becoming a successful real estate agent requires a lot of things, right? Problem solving, relationship building, marketing, admin, counselor, CEO, CFO, janitor, supply order acquisitions. I mean, we wear so many hats, right? And that's what I was talking about when we are the machine, right? We're not a cog anymore. We're the machine. And because we're usually working by ourselves, then everything that has to be done has to be accomplished by us. And I think if we don't have a plan for that, and we don't have goals set out to get those things done and hold ourselves accountable to it, a lot of things start falling through the cracks. How many people have had the greatest plans in the world and all these different things, and then life happens and things starts falling through the cracks? Everybody have that happen to them? And all of a sudden you don't get those things done that you needed to get done. And that all falls down to accountability and setting priorities, right? Priority setting when it comes to accountability is probably going to be your number one obstacle, right? And, you know, I talked to a group of people a while back and I said, hey, we were talking about priorities. And someone just kind of goes, well, I have this priority, I have this priority, I have this priority. And we had to have a really long conversation to get them to understand that priorities shift depending on what's happening, right? They shift. I told somebody at one of the things, I don't really say this anymore because it's kind of intrusive, but I used to tell people, you can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't do both. And, you know, someone said to me, it says, well, you know, there's an excuse, that's a bad word. And I said, I don't look as an excuse as a bad word. An excuse is a reason why we didn't accomplish something, right? There's a reason why we didn't accomplish it. So I asked him, I said, so let me ask you a question. I said, if you have a child who breaks their arm and you have a listing appointment, do you go to the emergency room or do you go on the listing appointment? And, well, you take your child to the emergency room. I said, of course, that's the correct priority, right? But it's still truism, right? You had a reason for not going on the listing appointment, therefore you didn't get the listing, but you had a reason for it. I understand that. But let's take it back down to something a little bit more appropriate. Do I have dinner every single night with my family, or do I take a couple of those nights and I have listing appointments and I go out and do a listing appointment, right? See, there's the priority changes a little bit, right? There's going to be some nights when the family needs to take priority. There's going to be some nights when work needs to take priority. So you have to really kind of those expectations as you move along. All right. So how do we make sure we get everything done that needs to get done? Accountability, right? We have to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable. And I think the first thing we need to do is define what accountability is. And accountability is holding yourself entirely responsible for the direction of your life, taking ownership of your experiences, and staying accountable to your choices, whether they're wonderful or painful, right? Because everything that happens to us in our life, I would say 99.9% of everything can be tracked back to a decision that we made or a choice that we made, no matter what that is. And somebody said, what if you're in a car accident? Well, you made a decision to get in a car at the time you made a decision to get in a car. Therefore, you were in that accident. So everything can be traced back to a decision we made. So holding ourselves, our own selves accountable for those things is probably the most important thing that we can do. If we start laying blame on everything that happens to us, we lose control of our lives, and we take responsibility and we take control of our lives by taking responsibility for the things and then changing those things as they come wonderful. So that's really what accountability boils down to. So how do we make sure we get it done, right? Accountability. It's a great way and a great definition, but how do we make sure we do it? So the first thing you got to do is you got to set clear and specific goals. Define what success looks like with measurable objectives. And if you around me very much, you'll hear me say this all the time. I never, ever focus on productivity with my agents at this company, ever. I focus on activities because the activities will generate the productivity, right? And everybody's success is a little different to everyone, right? So Ann may want to close 400 deals this year, and Mel may want to close 4. But both of those should be celebrated equally. If she reached her goals and she reached her goals. So that's why you'll never see competition charts in this office. You'll never see who's got the most production done. Now you might see a competition like who had the most Ford conversations this month and who reached out and talked to the mass number of people this month. So, which is, a little contest like that. Activities are more important than productivity, because if you're doing the activities that give you that meaningful life and helping others, the productivity will absolutely just show up. And then, really important, you got to set a deadline, right? Deadlines, and this is the part where people go, man, I don't know, deadline. Well, if you don't have a deadline, then when are you going to accomplish it by, right? So you have to hold yourself to I'm going to get this thing done, and I'm going to do it in this amount of time, right? And that's extremely important. Anybody know who Grant Cardone is? Grant Cardone, amazing. Anybody read the 10X rule? I'm going to tell you something. That book, you'll work hard, but man, you'll accomplish more than you ever thought you could. And one thing I thought was amazing about what he writes in that book is he talks about the fact that we sell ourselves short. We put down a goal. I want to make $100,000 this year. Well, why not $1 million, right? If you're trying to make as much as you can, why not $1 million? And his philosophy is this. I would rather fall short of making $1 million than fall short of making 100,000, right? So don't sell yourself short, because anything you can do can be done. But again, I digress. There's that rabbit hole I was telling you about. We'll get focused. It needs to be deadlines set so you can work with those. Create a plan and break it down. Develop an actionable plan with smaller, manageable steps to make progress feel attainable. Now, if you look at this, this is goals. How do we obtain a goal? Is we have a plan, right? You can have all these lofty goals all you want to, right? Oh, look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this. This is the things that I want to accomplish this year. But if you don't have a plan that has deadlines to get the little smaller steps done in that plan, then you're not going to do that. So you need to make them, and I said it this morning. Where's Craig at? I said it this morning. How do you eat an elephant? Anybody know how to eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? And that's how we make plans. That's how we make things. We take smaller bites, which eat bigger bites, and then by the time you know it, you've eaten the entire elephant. Now, this is an important one right here. Share your goals with someone, right? If you keep them to yourself, we might be a little bit, how many people would agree that we're probably more lenient with ourselves than we are other people, right? Yeah, we're more lenient with ourselves. And some people aren't. Some people are just so driven, they beat themselves up, and I don't want anybody to ever beat themselves up. One of the founding principles in the Ninja Selling Book and Larry Kendall is what you focus on expands, right? So if you're only focusing on the things you didn't get done, then the things you didn't get done are going to expand. So, accountability is not about sitting down and going, well, these are all the things I didn't do today. That's not really what it's about. It's about celebrating the things that you did do, focusing on the things that you did accomplish, and then focusing on the fact that you accomplished that, and because you're focusing on it, that's going to expand in your life. So we want this to be a very positive thing. And I talk about this all the time. I've never heard anybody say it, so I don't know if I'm making it up or not. But positive accountability. That's what we want in our life. And there's too many coaches out there. There's too many people that focus on negative accountability where they go, oh, okay, well, if you don't do this, you don't do that. And don't get me wrong, there's some validity to that, but we need to be focused more on the positive things. Everybody see that right there? It says escrow a check. I had an agent and brought him in. I was coaching with him, and I said, hey, listen, are you 100% committed to doing this coaching program? And they said, yeah. I said, oh, cool, that's great. How committed are you? He said, 100%. I said, okay, I want you to tell me what your least favorite charity is. I want you to tell me who you just absolutely can't stand. Charity, organization, I don't care which. And they said, PETA. I said, what, people eating tasty animals? And they're like, no, just PETA. They hated PETA. I'm like, okay. I want you to write a check to PETA for $5,000. I'm going to put it in my desk drawer. And if you fail on your commitment to do the things you say, I'm going to donate the check to PETA, and I'm going to post on Facebook that you donated $5,000 to PETA. And they said, well, wait a minute. I'm like, well, why are you telling me to wait a minute? You said you're 100% committed. Right? So being committed without some type of consequence can really change your prospect. So if you really want to be committed, write me a check for $1,000 to your least likely organization that you want to go to. Tell me what you're trying to accomplish, and if you don't accomplish it, and I don't mean the productivity, but the activities. See, we can all accomplish the activities. If we say, I'm going to close 30 houses this year, you may not reach that, or you may reach that. But if you say, I'm going to do these activities, see, nothing will stop those activities, right? You can accomplish those activities. Nothing standing between you accomplishing that, right? There are a lot of things that can happen. The market can change. Buyers fall through. They go out and buy a car the day before, and that's fine. Productivity can change on you, and that's a hard thing. But you have 1,000% control over the activities that you do on a daily basis. You have control over that. So tell me the activities you want to do. Tell me your least favorite thing. Write me a check. I'll put it in the desk drawer. I'll keep it locked up. And if you don't do the activities, I'll post on Facebook that you donated to them, and I'll donate your check. How many people how would that motivate you? Right? It's like a hammer. That's a hammer accountability right there. So I wrote a check one time for $2,500 to a coach. I got my check back because I didn't want to lose that money, right? So it really, when you get up in the morning, you go, am I going to lose that money today? No, I'm not. So I go out and do my activities. All right, track your progress regularly, okay? If you're not tracking your regular progress, right, like on a daily basis, then you'll get behind very, very quickly, right? So use tools like journals, apps, or spreadsheets to monitor your achievements and identify areas needing improvement. One of the things that my agents here at this company use is a Ninja Planner. This is probably one of the best accountability things that you could ever have. I've got about 10 people at my company that are in accountability coaching with me. And one of the things that they know that they have to do is that if I call them and go, hey, send me a picture of the last 3 days of your planner, right? They got 30 seconds to send that to me. And it's not so that I can go, oh, you didn't do it. It's so that I can say, hey, look, let's figure out why we're missing some of our goals and kind of focus on that. But the really nice thing about this book is the way it's broke down. If you look at it, this is a week, right? And the way this is broke down is on the left side are your Ninja 9, your 5 daily habits and your 4 weekly habits. And they're listed right on here, right? So it starts off with right across the top, personal notes, 2 personal notes every day. That's one of your Ninja habits, right? And then it goes into the thing that I tell all my agents they should be doing every single morning, right? Gratitudes, affirmations, and positive reading. When we get up in the morning, I always like to get up in the morning, and me and my wife have started, and we get up in the morning and we go, today is a great day. And we say that to each other every day because it is, always in the present tense. So, and then we talk about what we're grateful for, and then we sit down and we write 20 to 25 times what my affirmations are in the past tense. I enjoy running a productive and successful real estate company. I enjoy helping the agents in my office reach and achieve their goals. I write these things because it's what I want myself to look for. Then you got your daily routine, and there's a checkbox for every day of the week, right? Did I review my hot list today? Did I work on my warm list? Did I get my exercise in? Exercise is as good for the soul and the endorphins that it creates as anything else you will do, right? So it's very, very good to get those. And then my legal room. Did I do my live flow this week? Have I had my interviews with people? Did I accomplish it? So it's right here. So any day you can go back and look and go, well, how did I do last week? Well, I really did good. 4 of the 5 days, 4 of the 7 days, I got all these things accomplished. That's really great. I think I'll focus on maybe getting those other 2 days in there. And so having this, writing it down, holding it is great. And then, of course, you have your action items and your daily agenda, which is another one of our daily habits, right? Which is wake up and stay on agenda. So what I try to do the night before is I take out my planner and I go, okay, what's on my list for tomorrow? And I write it down. Now mine's kept electronically, right? It's just easier for me because I've got an absolute great staff over here and they keep me straight. I'd be late for half the things I'm supposed to be there for if not for them. So I go, okay, so what have I got tomorrow? And I make sure that my day is planned out the next day. So this is my accountability and this could be yours too. And then what you do is you have a friend, an accountability partner that says, hey, anytime they call you, you got to sit down and go over your book with them. And it keeps you always focused on it. Yes, Carrie? She does. Hold on just a second. Here you go.
So if you want, you can download like the PDF version of it and upload it to your Remarkable or any other digital notebook that you have. So if you're like me and need electronics to keep track of your calendar, you can access it from your phone and like other areas as well, which is nice.
Yeah, it's super nice. So it's really what works. Thank you. It's what works for you as an individual. It doesn't matter what system you use as long as you use the system. The system that works best is the one that you will use. There's a ninja at the group out in Colorado in Fort Collins with Larry, and he's an amazing guy. And his system is simply this. He has every quarter, his assistant prints off a mailing list. And the mailing list is a little bit different than the regular mailing list, but it's set up like a mailing list, right? Because you know how you can print the labels out. And it's got their name, their address, their phone number, and their email address. And he carries it around with him everywhere he goes. And anytime he makes a call and talks to somebody on that list, he puts a little check mark. He's a hugger. Right, so he hugs everybody. Every time he hugs somebody, he puts a circle on there. Hey, I hugged them this month. He puts a little X if he sent him a note, and that's his list. That's how he holds himself accountable. And at the end of the quarter, he starts going through there and go, oh my goodness, I haven't talked to Larry, Joe, Curly, or Mo. And he knows that he needs to talk to them. Yes, Carrie?
I think sometimes when you look at these lists,
Hold on. Catch.
I have the calendar and then the Ford sheet. It's daunting when you look at it because it's this blank paper with all these lines on it.
Yep.
So if you can break it down on a daily basis rather than, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes if you just break it down to a smaller list, and it makes it more achievable when it's daily versus looking at something that's for the whole week or for the whole month.
No, I agree 100%. And she's talking about this thing that comes with your planner called Ford and Record. We all know what a Ford conversation is. Yes, Carrie?
Well, and I was just going to say, with the Ford stuff too, we get in the habit of responding to people in email and text. And sometimes the simplest way to meet your goal is just pick up the phone. Instead of just replying an email, pick up the phone and calling them and saying, hey, I'll answer that question. And oh, by the way,
Yeah, 100%. I think the most valuable time that you can spend with someone is in a live conversation, right? It's the most valuable time. Ford, and we can talk about Ford. I can talk about that until I'm nauseous. I think that we all fall down a little bit when it comes to Ford conversations because what happens is because it's family, occupation, recreation, dreams, right? What happens is we go, Ann, how's your family? How's your family, Ann? Great. And we stop. Oh, your family's great. Okay, we stop. Hey, well, great. What's going on with them? What makes them so great right now?
Right.
See where I'm going? So every question in a Ford conversation, every answer is your next question is embedded in that answer. So she says, oh, my family's great. Great. What makes them so great? I love hearing good news. What's going on with them? Oh, well, my son's going off to college. Okay, well, great. Well, that might tell me right there that in the next 12 months, she might have a real estate need, and I would put her on my warm list, right? And then flow. Flow is what? Is our frequency of interaction with our clients or with the people that we know or people in our sphere of influence. So if I know somebody's probably going to have a increased probability of a transaction in the next 12 months, then I need to increase my flow, my frequency of interaction with those individuals, because here's what we know. Everybody knows approximately 12 agents. In Hampton Roads, it's probably more than that. If I had a person ask me one time, you guys have heard me say this before, I had an agent ask me one time, says, what's the best way to get an agent? I said, well, if you're in Hampton Roads, the best way to get an agent is walk into a bar. Bartender's probably got a license, right? I mean, it seems like everybody and their brother has one, right? So if everybody has a license and all of your people, all of your friends in your sphere know people, 12 people that have one, how do they pick who they use? Well, the answer is twofold. Number one, the reason people refer, the number one reason refer is because they feel like you will make them look good. It ain't about the service that you will provide and that they love you and you're special. Maybe your mom will do that. Honestly, though, your mom will refer to somebody else because she'll forget you're in real estate too, right? But the reality is that they refer because they know that you will make them look good. So that's why we have to always be professional, and we always have to be that person that's going to do that. The second reason, I lost my train of thought here. The second reason that people refer is because, I don't know, where were I talking about before I went down that rabbit hole? Ford. All right. So when we're having these Ford conversations and we put people on our warm list and we start talking to them about things, not only does it show that we have a genuine interest in their life, but it takes us to the overall thing of stop selling, start solving, right? Because it allows us to identify pain and pressure points in their life and allows us to solve the problem. So sorry about that. I didn't mean to get off topic there, but I sure did. All right. So track your progress. And, of course, what you focus on expands, and that's going to be really, really good. So let's talk about this real quick. This forward and record. Anytime you talk to somebody and you have a forward conversation, this piece of paper is so good because it has just 3 things on it. Who you talk to, what you learned, and any action items you need to take from that. So if I'm talking to someone that I just met and I have a forward conversation with them, I'm going to put down there who I talked to, what I learned about them, and my action item is probably going to be to put them on an 8x8 program. So an 8x8 program, and Keller Williams has an 8x8, but it's designed to, morning, how are you, to do one thing. What this is designed to do is to deepen a relationship of someone you just met. So it's a very specific interaction with that person on a weekly basis for 8 weeks. And it's designed to help solidify that relationship with that person. So it doesn't have to be about real estate, right? Larry Kendall tells a story where he met a guy in the first week. The guy had just moved to Fort Collins, Colorado. So the very first thing he sent him on the first week was a guide to all the great things in Colorado, right? Providing value, right? So your action item for that, and then you sit down and you get that in your database or your CRM and you start to follow up with them. I just discovered here recently a database called Cloze, C-L-O-Z-E. Anybody ever heard of it? Here's what's amazing about it, is that it has a Ninja overlay. So once you tell it that you work within the Ninja system, it automatically puts everything within a Ninja overlay. So it has the 8x8 that you can assign. It has, are you writing your notes? And once you connect it to your email and to your phone, it will literally come up every morning. You'll get an email from Cloze that says, hey, you haven't talked to this person in a month. It's time that you reconnect with them. Hey, you haven't done this. Hey, you haven't sent an email to this person. Hey, you haven't had a phone call. And it syncs your phone call. So it knows, if they're in your contact in your phone, it knows whether you talk to them on the phone or not. It's amazing. It really keeps you going and it keeps you up to speed. And it's just tied right into everything else you're doing. It works with your planner. It works with what you're doing here. So CLOZE. It's about $40 a month. Cheap investment in what you're doing, but it's an amazing program. And it lets you kind of update these things. All right. Reward yourself for milestones. And I think this is something that we don't do enough of, right? If you've got goals set and you've got different things set aside that you want to accomplish, there should also be, next to that, what you get if you accomplish it, right? Maybe it's that, how many people drink wine? I'm a wino, so, okay. How many people has a favorite bottle of wine? How many people realize that bottle of wine is not something I can drink every night because it's probably $100 a bottle, right? But why not set it out so that if you accomplish the activities that you set out for yourself that week, then you get to treat yourself to that bottle of wine, right? So those are the kind of the positive things that you can do to kind of reinforce that positive behavior. Reward yourself for milestones. The bigger the accomplishment, the bigger the award, right? So let's say I'm going to go 6 months and I'm going to make sure that I hit 80% of my activities. And at the end of 6 months, you've hit 80% of your activities, reward yourself with a long weekend somewhere, right? But you need to write down what that reward is going to be so you have something to work towards. It can't just be about money, right? It can never just be about money because money's not the end-all be-all. Money is a tool that gives us the things that we want in life. How many people have a life list? Things they want to accomplish in life. If you don't have a life list, you are missing one of the most important motivators in your life. When you're having a bad day and you're having a time where you're just like, man, I don't want to do this today. I do not want to have to deal with this today. You look at your life list. Your life list is that bucket list, and it should be broken up into like 4 categories. Hey, Craig. It should be broken up into like 4 categories. Things I want for myself, things I want for my family, things I want for my jobs, things that I want to accomplish, right? And when you're having that bad day, you're having one of those days when you just don't have the motivation, the gumption, or the ability to smile when you're on the phone, it's just killing you. You look at that life list, and then you start to realize, okay, I know why I'm doing this now. I'm not doing this for a commission check. The commission check is just a tool that will help me accomplish this. That's your rocket fuel for your daily motivation. You can go to a seminar and listen to Tony Robbins and leave that thing, that wears off pretty quick. Right? That wears off pretty quick. You need something that's going to sustain you long term. And having clearly identified things that you want to accomplish in your life or things that you want to accomplish for family in your life, man, that's the best motivation you can possibly have. So make sure you're doing that, these milestones, this positive behavior, and these milestones. All right. How many people have one of the following in place? How many people have an accountability coach? Should be about 10 people in here I know of. All right. How many people have an accountability partner? Love that. And how many people have some type of system in place for your accountability? Beautiful. If you don't have some type of accountability in place, external to yourself, I'm not saying you won't make it, but I'm saying you will do much better having that in your life, right? Having that little bit of external pressure over time makes diamonds, right? So having that little bit of external pressure, having that little bit of external accountability is going to be so important for you. So if you don't have some type of accountability in your life, put something like that in place. It can be as simple, you're going to love this, it can be as simple as posting it on your Facebook page. Boy, there's a good one, right? And then you get to post later, your reward is getting to post later that you accomplished it. Or posting that you didn't accomplish it. That would be a hard one, right? Rewards. Let's talk about that for a second. Incentivize yourself to stay motivated and consistent by celebrating progress. Small wins. Treat yourself to a coffee, a meal out, favorite snack, bottle of wine. Big achievements, plan a trip. Enjoyment, allow time for leisure activities like a movie. How many people actually plan leisure activity in your life? If you're not doing that, you need to start, right? It's probably one of the most important things you do. Burnout is a real thing in our industry. Whether you're in lending or whether you're in real estate, burnout can sneak up on you before you know it, and all of a sudden you get up one day and go, I don't want to do this shit anymore, right? So make sure you do change for that. Social rewards. Share your success with others and let them celebrate with you, right? Long-term incentive. Link your progress to a larger reward such as upgrading your workspace, scheduling a dream vacation, new car, whatever it is that motivates you. Go climb Mount Everest, right? Whatever it is you're trying to do. This is where that life list comes into place. Your rewards, a lot of it can be on your life list, okay? Penalties. Financial penalties. Commit to donating a set amount of charity to a cause you like. If you miss a key deadline or one you don't like, it'd be better. This says a cause you like. How about the one you don't like? Woo! That'll be a good one. Public account, share your failure with an accountability partner to add external pressure, I don't like negative penalties. I just don't. But I think we need a little bit of it to add that pressure. If there's not any consequence, then
Well, there's the not pay your bills.
yeah, there's definitely a consequence for not paying your bills. They'll come get your car, right? All right. So here's the question. Is it stifling or inspiring? And here's what I say. It is what you say it is. When we talk about the world as a whole, anybody heard my story about Einstein? Einstein was asked to speak to a group of PhDs, physicists, and some of the smartest people in the world. And he told them before he got there, he says, okay, so we're going to have this discussion, this panel discussion. I want you guys to have one question available that we'll all discuss when I get there. And they said, okay, of course. You take that many people with that big a brain, and they couldn't agree on anything. So he gets there, and they said, hey, we couldn't agree on a question. He goes, okay, fine. He goes, I have a question. So Albert Einstein posed this question. He says, is the world generally a good place or a bad place? And they went on for the next 2 hours discussing whether the world was a good place or a bad place. And what they came to the conclusion was about half of them said it was a good place, and about half of them said it was a bad place. So my question is, you have a room full of the smartest people on the planet. Half of them say the world is good, half of them say it's bad. Who's right?
Perspective and situational on where they are.
They're all right. Because the reality is the world is what you say it is. Because whatever you say the world is and whatever you look for and whatever you focus on is going to expand. So if you think the world is negative and that everything is horrible, then guess what? The world is going to be negative and the world is going to be horrible because that's what your non-conscious mind is going to seek out and find every day because it thinks that's what you're looking for. But if you think the world is this positive, wonderful place, that's what you'll see every single day because you're going to find what you look for. Does that make sense? So I love having you guys come here, but I don't want to dominate all these conversations. So I want to go around the room and just, if you guys have something you would like to add to this, I would love to hear what you have to say. If you're in my coaching group, you have to add something. So we're going to start with you. There you go, Rob. What do you got for us? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be on this today. It can be anything,
couple
Rob.
stories, but one that sticks out, I think it demonstrates like building a genuine relationship and creating value beyond the transactions. So I was over at the mall at the Apple store buying an iPad, sporting no away gear, and a guy approached me. He's like, "Hey, you're in real estate. I'm looking to buy a condo," and we all love that. Like, all right. So I'm shoving real estate down his throat, and and then he started like, "Well, how much are you going to make?" And I'm all right. Now I'm obviously being too pushy. Turned gears and started talking about my personal life, and he started talking about his, and you know, his family moved from Pakistan to here. He's living with his mom. He thinks it's just his time to move out. And then he mentioned he needs a better job. So I was like, all right, how about you send me your resume? And because I talk to a lot of people, might come across someone. And he sends me it. It's like 5-page resume. So everyone knows like this disaster. So I took his resume. I just emailed him back. Okay, got it, thanks. Took his resume, got it professionally done, and brought it back to him. He was so appreciative, and you know, he's texting me now. You know, he's calling me brother, and so he just recently I came across a company that's opening a new office. So I sent him all the contact information, where he needs to apply, and we're waiting to see if he got that job now. So,
What a great story about, stop selling and start solving. You know, you listened to him. He had some pain and pleasure points in his life, and you created a solution and solved that. And I promise you, that guy will be a raving fan the rest of your life. You'll get so many referrals
every time
from
I
him.
talk real estate, he's like, Rob, when this is my time, you're going to be my agent.
Anybody else got anything? Barbara. Hand her that.
I've been in real estate since 1989. I'm going to be 75 this year.
Woo!
And I'm checked out. I'm healthy. My brain works. And I have many goals. But the one thing I've learned from the Ninja is my why. Why am I doing this? I've done a lot of things from the time I was born till today. And so now I have to set new whys. And I think once we set our whys, that gives us the motivation to reach our goals. So we have to start with that. That's real important. So that's the one thing I'm holding on to. And then something you just said, we have to be approachable. Sometimes I can be intimidating because I'm not a smiler. So I don't have that warm and fuzzy, hey, attitude all the time. So we have to be approachable to people no matter where we are, just like you. You met that person in the AT&T store, Apple store. And so we have to be open to, or to remember that you might be intimidated when you say the word realtor because they assume you know more than they do. And so we can learn something from everybody. So those are my goals for 2025, to be more approachable and to remember what my why is, because that's going to give me the motivation to sell real estate in 2025 and make $250,000 in 2025.
I love that. It's a great goal. Yes. Anybody else?
Want to go? No? Oh, okay.
All right, so I just did a workshop a month or so ago, or yeah, right around the new year, about setting goals. And I did it through this guy named Brian Tracy. He's another author, kind of the same vein of selling and everything. It was SMART goals. So it's the SMART lens that you run your goals through. And it kind of lines up with a lot of what's being said here in the Ninja Selling. But they are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. It's a lot of those things that you said. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And the guy's name is Brian Tracy. He's got a lot of great sales books and personal, improvement books. But it's really cool to see that those same principles from multiple sources. So it kind of lets you know that, yeah, there's something there to it.
I love that. Thank you so much. Anybody
No
else?
problem.
Flexibility's not so good. No, the first thing I wanted to talk about, I'm going to put it second because Barbara brought up a really good point, and it was being approachable. And you didn't hear me? Oh, what you had said about being approachable, it really, stuck in me because my daughters are always, when I walk in a room, and I guess I'm carrying this on the outside, they'll look, and there's nothing wrong with me. I'm in a good mood, but I walk in a room, they go, Dad, what's the matter? I'm going, nothing. Why?
Because you have RBF, Jack. Jack, you know what RBF is?
No.
Resting bitch face.
Yeah. So I have to, I have to concentrate on, at least putting a half smile on my face and walk around and being more approachable. I think that's really good. But the one thing I wanted to bring up was it came from one of the 3 videos that we saw on YouTube. That was one of our assignments. And they went over a lot of really good stuff. But one of the things that I'm doing is I've got myself a calendar. You get yourself a calendar with, 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 blocks on it. And you do your Ninja 9 each day. And if you do that Ninja 9 each day, you can put a black X on that day. If you don't do it, you got to put a red X on that day.
Ooh.
So, my wife came in the other day. I had a red X on my calendar, and she goes, "What's up with the red X? What happened?" I said, "Well, I had to take your dad to Walmart, and I got pulled away." And she looked at me like, "No, that's not going to work. You still had time that day to get your stuff done." So, I'm looking to get black X's across that thing every day by doing everything on that.
That's a great accountability, Jack. I like that. Kiss?
On the lines of accountability, at my former company, when we did Ninja, we started a group, like a texting group, and every day we would text the 3 important things, which is your gratitude, your affirmations, and if anybody doesn't know, you're supposed to write down 3 things. Ninja's recommendation is you write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and then you write down your affirmation 25 times. So that's the key. You have to write 25 times, and it's in present tense. It's not like I will lose weight. It says I am happy that I am at my goal weight of 145 pounds, whatever it is. So you say everything in the present tense, and then the third thing is your your 2 thank you cards or note cards a day to whomever. So so what I did is I started a Telegram group for anyone who's interested. Just come see me at the end of the meeting, because I have not been as consistent with those 3 things, mainly the note cards. I do the other 2. Yeah, Craig. So when I was in that group and I saw people's check marks every day, I would say, oh, well, shit, if he can do it, I can do it, you know? So I'm going to start that up again, because I think it's just nice, because it's a nice little way. When you start seeing your phone beeping and you're seeing other people doing it, I think it does motivate you and hold you accountable. So if anyone's interested, it's again, all you're doing is putting your 3 check marks or your whatever emoji and saying that you did it for that day. I don't want to know why you didn't do it. I just want to know that you did it. And that's what we're going to start doing. So if anyone's interested after the meeting, come to me and I'll just immediately add you to the group.
I think that's great. Carrie also is doing a vision board. Tell us a little bit about that, Carrie, because it goes right along with what we're talking about.
Yeah, so next Tuesday down at Mahi Ma's, they've opened up the restaurant for us, and so you can get lunch if you want or not. It's the Gathering for Greatness. It's a networking group that I collaborate with, and we'll have poster boards for you. We'll have magazines. We'll have everything there so that you can put all of your visions for 2025 on a board. I have my vision board from the last 2 years in my office at home, because it's nice to look up at, and even my kids look at it now and they say, well, you didn't do that, Mommy. I'm like, well, it's going to be a carryover. Sorry guys, the pool's not in the backyard yet. But I just think sometimes having that visual and taking the time to craft it, and again, it's your why. Why do we do this? Why do we work our butts off? What are our goals? It's not just about the money in the bank. It's what we can achieve in life, whether that's, for your kids, for your charities, whatever it is. So if anyone's interested, I can give you some information about the vision board. It's from 12 to 2. And again, the supplies are provided for you. If you want to order lunch, you can. I think we've got over 40 people signed up. We've got room. Yay, good. Yeah, we've got room for 65 people. I think it's going to be great. There's going to be a lot of positive energy in the room. So,
thank you so much, Carrie. Anybody online have a story they'd like to share, something that's worked for them? Anybody in the room? Yes, Ann. Yeah, we're going to get you the microphone over here. Ann, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. So I just want to amplify, I guess, for lack of a better word, what everybody said, whether it's on Tracy or on Kindle. It boils down to just remembering to pause and do these things. We all have the knowledge already. And then I wanted to highlight also on what we focus on grows. If you're not familiar with, or if you are familiar with, just do a reread of The Secret. Have you heard of that book or that movie? Okay, so that's just another reminder. So you see it's everywhere. It's just we complicate life. Life is very simple, and we tend to just let situations get in the way of that. So I've learned to just pause. And it's funny that you approached me and said, how's your family, whatever, and great. And then I just go on. I've just recently started with that with clients, because we're all in a hurry. We got to do this. We got to get to the next, whatever it is. And so you dive in deeper, and you really start to. It's more genuine, and people feel that you care about them. So it's not just how's your family. Dive in deeper to just establish that relationship. So just highlighting everything that everybody else has said, but it's doing it, because people will do the business with those that they know, like, and trust at the end of the day, period.
I love that. Know, like, and trust. And that is spot on. Anybody else? All right, Sydney, I'm so proud of you.
I don't do this very often, so I might freeze a little bit. But no, I like that we definitely talked about this in the accountability. It's kind of been my 2025 mantra that I work on accountability and I work on my discipline. I think discipline has been a huge issue, at least for myself, and I think for a lot of other people as well. So yeah, really trying to figure out what exactly I can do to be more disciplined. Kenny has mentioned this before. I think it was more in a negotiations meeting, but he talked about negotiating with yourself. And I found that I do that a lot. So I have started coming up with plans on how, sorry. I have started making plans so that I can stick to plans and not my emotions when it comes to things, so that I have that discipline. And I think that that has been working good so far. He pushes me sometimes, which is a little bit helpful. But yeah, writing things down when you are in a good headspace and having that plan in motion, and then being able to look back at that and say, you know what, I don't feel like I'm, doing a good job today, or I don't feel like myself, but I've got this written down and this is what I said I was going to stick to. So sticking to it. It's definitely been helpful. So that's all I got.
That's awesome, Sydney. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Oh, Rachel?
Well, since my other introvert went, I feel like I need to. So actually two things though. One for my other RBFers here. I am extremely guilty of looking very, very non-approachable, not intentionally whatsoever. I compare myself a lot to I don't know if you've ever seen the memes of Kanye walking down the street. He looks just absolutely mean when in his head he's probably just fine. So that's me. So I've made it a point to consciously smile for anytime I'm out and about. I have to think about it, but I do. I consciously smile. And over the past few years, anybody that knew me prior to getting in real estate and starting to consciously smile, they all say I'm unapproachable, super nice once you talk to me, but definitely hard to walk up to and speak to. Anybody that has known me afterwards says I'm super approachable, I seem really nice and just friendly. So the conscious smiling over time, it does get natural.
Yeah, I never get accused of being unapproachable.
The other thing, and this actually goes back to when I was new, I have, as Kenny knows, kind of always been doing ninja selling. I just didn't realize there was a name for it or a structure to it. Because I'm introverted, I find it really hard to to do sales and stuff like that. So I always just led with getting to know people. So my very first listing, obviously I have nothing under my belt to be able to refer to. And there was 5 other agents that I was competing with, all probably well more experienced than me. And when I went to the listing appointment, I sat and I talked to them about their cats. I'm so serious. I talked about their cats and what was stressing them out about the move and all this stuff. And I won that listing. I had nothing else to go on, but I was the only person that day that talked to them about them. So it does work. Forward conversations work. And especially when you're new, it's a good way to lead.
So amazing. I'm so proud of Rachel. 3 years ago, she would have never stood up in front of this group and talked right now. Would have not happened. So proud of her. Anybody else? Yeah, Mel. Oh, there we go. On board. Yes.
Do you want me to take my camera off or am I good?
No, put your camera on and let's pull her up on the main screen.
Okay. Can you see me there?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so I did a ninja installation in Colorado. Absolutely excellent experience. And at this time, it really was helpful for my business. And I think that I just got so busy and got so distracted. And, most of us have ADD, so I feel like I'm in a room of people who can be like purple squirrel, get distracted, try to do things, throwing it to the wall to see what sticks. And something that you said really resonated with me, and I just wanted to thank you for that, was we can't necessarily control the outcomes, but we can control the activities. And I think I am a person that I get so lost in, the deal when the deal is going on, and then I don't focus on the activities. Or if I'm paying for leads, I'm not focusing on the activities. And so going into or ending 2024 and going into 25, I'm like, okay, I cannot make that type of investment in leads. I have to grow my spirit organically if I really want to have, a sustainable business. And so that was a ton of bricks because I can't control the outcome, but I can control the activity. So I wanted to thank you for that. And then the second thing was just about accountability. It's difficult to find accountability, especially I'm not in a brokerage that's here local. The closest office to me is in Richmond. So
Where are you at? Are you here in Virginia Beach?
Sorry?
Are you here in Virginia Beach?
Yes, I'm here in Virginia.
I got a local office for you. I said, I've got a local office for you.
I know Erin, I love her. She told me about you guys. I was going to text her actually again, but that's a challenge for me because finding that accountability, which I think is so crucial, because I think the accountability motivates you. And when you don't have any, you too, for me, I'll speak for myself, you can tend to just let stuff kind of fall or let stuff kind of go a little different. So I just wanted to say that and thank you for those two things that I know that I'm definitely going to walk away from.
Well, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you being here. There's actually a book coming out in February that talks about a lot of the stuff that you just said. It's called Accidental Real Estate. So I'm pretty sure I can get you a copy. I know the author pretty well. It's me. so we can work that out.
That would be so awesome. I would love that.
Well, I hope so. It's to be determined. First book I ever wrote, so we'll see how that goes. Anybody else? Mel.
Hi, so I just wanted to kind of, sorry, I'm like having the worst anxiety right now.
I'm so sorry.
I know, I don't understand why, but.
I don't either. You're a
usually
retired chief petty officer out of the Navy.
Public speaking is like, I'm just falling off the
Well, you're doing great.
But just like, I kept feeling like I was like burying myself in a hole and, you know, I couldn't get out of it. And I was like, I'm going to sit here because we did the accountability course, coaching, and I was like, I need to go back and try to fix my email. And I took 2 hours of going through these websites, trying to read over things, trying to understand what I was missing. And it was as simple as like, they didn't tell me that I needed to go and verify an email. So I went and found it, and then I had to go like resend the stupid thing. But it took me 2 hours just to find that to get this email. But now I have an actual email, which is a business account. Now I can get my business card, so I don't look like some kind of crazy person running out there being like, yeah, just here's my blank, and you know, that's good enough. But it felt so nice to be able to just be like, I have an email right now, and then like that was a win for me. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I can move forward from that.
I love that.
Thing, so.
It's the little wins, right?
Like
we got to celebrate all the wins. That's awesome. Anybody else?
How long did it take you to fix it?
It took me so I procrastinated for 2 weeks, but it took me 2 hours of actually consistently going through these websites to figure out what I was missing.
The exact same thing happened to me, and it took me about 2 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah. But it's so stupid. But you're almost like your worst enemy because you're like thinking that, oh my God, like I don't want to do this. I can't figure it out. I don't know what's going on.
Cards with the email
address
on it.
Kenny, meeting, you need to play that Malcolm in the Middle clip you showed me yesterday of Brian Cranston fixing the light bulb.
Oh, the ADD. I got to get can you order a gimbal? Because.
You can take it off, you know. You can hold it.
Yeah, no, I would be even worse at that. It would be even worse. I know it's I'm getting my butt kicked over here. Craig Lundgren. Craig Lundgren, if you don't know, is an installed ninja. He was out in Fort Collins, Colorado. As a matter of fact, that's where I met him.
That's right. I just been thinking this week. I wanted to share about Forward and Record. This past week, had a win. I did my listing launch with a full set of open houses. Did 4 of them actually, and had 20 Ford conversations. 2 of them resulted in appointments that are coming up in the next few days, and it was really difficult during those conversations. Rob brought up shoving real estate down your throat, and our pitch as realtors, it's real easy to go into that pitch, and we have to catch ourselves and as ninjas to slow down and focus on asking those Ford conversations. So strangers coming into my open house, and they got real estate on their brain. They are coming in, they are hot. They are shoving real estate down my throat. They really, really are. One of them was going off on an investment seminar they went to, throwing out all these buzzwords, and they were like, do you know this? Do you know this? Whether I knew it or not, I was just like, I would like kind of nod, like, tell me more about that. And they took the tour of the house, and a lot of times as listing agents, we try and focus on just talking about the house or just talking about real estate, shoving real estate down their throat. And if we slow down and focus on those Ford questions, then you get to know that person better. You're building a relationship, and if you don't give them everything all at once, give them a 30-minute lecture on real estate, then they're going to have something to be attracted to you. We want to be attractors. And so simply just having a prepared brochure, at the open house about the house. They have that. Don't chase them around the house. And then when they're done, they might say, "Oh, I'm working with another realtor." And I kind of have this magic phrase I tell my wife. I was just like, I always smile and respond like, "That's wonderful. Did they give you a buyer's package?" And inevitably they say, "What's that?" And
I mean, you don't look at them and say, "Get out."
exactly, right, right. And so, so then, funny you ask. I have one here for you. It has everything you need to purchase real estate in Virginia, and it's very simple. I mean, it has disclosures and a copy
And
of
Craig,
the
that's a
contract.
great way of providing value unintrusively. You're not trying to get them as a client, but you're just providing that value, and I think that's great.
Definitely, definitely. And I'll just wrap up with one more thing. The result from this open house is my phone rang yesterday, and with these people who are really interested. So we set up an appointment for next week. I have 2 of them, buyer's consultations, and so I just referred to that 10-step buyer process, and just keep focusing to say, hey, I have a process to answer all your questions. It actually has 10 steps. Could we take time to sit down and do that? And had I not slowed down, asked those forward conversations, then we would have exhausted that one-dimensional conversation right there at the open house. They might have just said like, well, you don't have the answers I'm looking for, so we're done, and then cut it off. But when you focus on forward, then you slow down that process and you develop a more dimension to your relationship, and you learn things about their family and about people in other aspects of their world that they might work with, and that leads to referrals. And so I just wanted to share that
Thank you, Craig.
success story.
Craig, I appreciate you so much. Right behind you.
Here you go.
So I've been in real estate for about a year, and prior to that, I was in an office with about 25 other salesmen doing inside sales, right? Like, and our motto was like, ABC, right? Always be closing. So when I made the transition,
Glenn Gary, Glenn Close.
so when I made this transition into real estate, Michelle had already been, and we're engaged, we live together. So she'd been doing it for already like 4 years. I was thinking it would be an easy transition, right? I get them on the phone. That's what I was doing, just finding leads and just cranking out phone calls and just trying to, get her business while I was working on my license. Anyway, I got my license January of last year. So it's been, quite a bit of a learning curve for me, right? So, and I'm an extrovert. I love being out there talking to people. I like helping people genuinely, and the more you get to know me, you'll understand that that's all true. Because there's a lot of people I'm sure that aren't, right? They're ABC, right? Close them, right? So I can't close a potential client in the first phone call. I can't close a house within the first phone call. It's not going to happen, right? So Michelle introduced me to Kenny, and here we are, ninja selling, right? So it's just awesome how we get to slow down. I get to slow down. I really get to know these clients, right? Get to know them and their families, and it's a long game, And I've come to terms with that, and it's okay, right? And this way of it's just awesome, I don't have to sell anything.
Nah, we solve. We don't sell, we solve.
And just do my thing, and it just all comes into play. It's just
I love that
it's
so
amazing.
much.
Just amazing.
I love that so much because he's 100% correct in that if we're going to do, in my opinion, and I'm not disparaging against car sales. I'm going to use that as an example. When you go in to buy a car, you sit on one side of the table, the salesperson sits on the other side of the table, and right? But as a real estate professional, I sit on the same side of the table with my clients because I'm there to advocate for them, right? So I need to be developing that relationship with them, and it's a different relationship. Can I develop a relationship with a car salesman? Sure, but it's a different relationship because there's still that adversarial, he's trying to get the most he can for the car, I'm trying to get the least I can for the car. But when I have somebody that I'm advocating for, it's a way different relationship. So taking the time to get to know that person on deep and personal levels means a whole lot more. Anybody else? I know we're running a little over here, so I'm probably going to let you guys go. Anybody else like to add anything? Guys, I can't thank you enough for being here today. I hope to see you back here again hopefully next month. I'm available anytime anybody has questions or just wants to talk. Just give me a call. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. But I'm going to let you guys go. Remember, flow fixes everything. And go out there and sell a house. Have a good one, guys.